you significantly. Hello. Welcome. Good evening. How are you? I'm having a very tasty beverage of my own making this evening. I'll talk about what's in it in a moment, but I'm going to be talking about intention. I'm going to be talking about the power of intention this evening. I promise I've just started drinking this. I'm not and that's not going to put me to sleep or anything here this evening. So how's everyone doing? It's Sunday evening here. How are you all doing? I had a little bit of a rough day. I did go live a couple times earlier in the day. Decided to do another one tonight, waiting for a good friend to join me who had to miss me earlier in the day. And I was like, oh, I'm sorry. I didn't give her a heads up, and I feel bad about that. Because she almost never misses a live of mine, and she'll watch the replays as well. I mean, I don't think you get a replay on TikTok, but on YouTube and Facebook Live, there is a replay. So, but I'm going to talk about intention tonight, the power of intention and how important it is in any sort of spiritual work. I'll talk about manifestation tonight. That seems to be something lots of people are interested in. I have something that I've called the triangle of manifestation. I know it sounds gimmicky, right? Just a little way that I explained the three important corners of manifestation, right? So if you had a table with only two legs, it would not stand up. But if you add a third leg, as long as it was balanced, that table would stand pretty well, right? So it's the same thing with manifestation. There are three legs. There are three important aspects to it. I'm in my living room this evening, which is kind of strange. Normally I do these in my office, but I'm not. I'm chilling, hanging out. My dog's over here. I'm over here. I'm having a cocktail this evening because it's the Metaphysical Cocktail Hour. I made something very tropical. I'm into tiki drinks a whole lot. So I hope people enjoy tiki drinks. I'll give you the recipe if I can remember it. There's a lot of components to it. So it starts with coconut rum. And then there is, banana liqueur, almond syrup, lime juice, lemon juice, pineapple and orange juice, and coconut cream. And it's delicious. It's sweet. It's a treat. It's like a dessert in a glass. It's got that little bit of sour, but a little bit of sweet. You're here. Welcome, welcome. Now, are you having a cocktail? And if so, what are you having? I did this just special for my friend Brienne. I mean, she's nice enough to tune into all of my lives, and I forgot to remind her this morning, and I went live, and I feel bad, so she had to miss it. So, and she tuned me in apparently to a really amazing taco place in Portland. So, I feel like I owe her one for that. Like anybody that points me in the direction of excellent tacos, like my divinely excellent friend Brienne, you got to do it. You got to do a live for them when they missed the one earlier in the day. So here I am. It's Sunday night. I've had a weekend. It's been a little rough, to be honest with you. It's been lots of things going on, but overall I'm doing okay, and that's the important part. And I'm working on lots of things, and I've got lots of time to work on the things that I'm working on coming up soon. My daughters are leaving for college. One is leaving a week from today, and one is leaving the Friday after that. So you're so welcome, and thank you for the insight into the taco place in Portland. I will have to give it a try someday soon. So anyway, I've had a little bit of a weekend. It's been a little rough, but I'm here. I'm doing okay. I'm doing okay emotionally and spiritually and physically. I'm doing okay. And I'm going to talk about intention. I'm going to talk about the power of intention. I'm going to talk about what intention is. I'm going to talk about how we use intention as part of our manifestation practice or any other spiritual work that we are doing, and why it is critical to any spiritual work that you're doing, whether that is manifestation work or whether that's just devotional work, right? I'm gonna pray to my deity. I'm gonna do whatever. Intention is critical. Without intention, you're not really doing anything. You're not making any progress. You're not achieving what you want to achieve. It's nearly impossible to do it without intention. And my teacher, I've said this over and over again because it really rings true. My shamanic teacher always said that intention drives the bus when you're doing this work, meaning it's in control. It steers where you are going, right? It is your not necessarily your guidance system, but it is the thing that keeps you going according to your guidance system. It's the thing that keeps you going where you're supposed to be going, where you're intending on heading. So let's talk about intention. Let's talk about what intention is, so that we have a sort of a clear understanding, and how I'll talk about. If I miss any of this stuff, remind me. I'll talk about how to set good, clear intentions for the work that you're doing, how to hold intention, and I'll talk about how intention fits into the overall scheme of things when you are doing spiritual work, whatever that spiritual work happens to be. And I'll have my cocktail on the way. Is anybody else having a cocktail or another beverage that they're enjoying this evening? I gave away, if you missed it, I gave the recipe away from this. I don't know if it has a name, because I kind of made it up as I went along. It's coconut rum, banana liqueur, lime juice, lemon juice, pineapple juice, coconut cream, and almond syrup. So it's a little bit like a Mai Tai. Not completely, but it is a little bit like a Mai Tai. Here's Phoebe. Hi, you just woke up? Oh, yeah, because it's like super early in the morning over there where you are. Oh, just sparkling water right now. Oh, man. You're supposed to have a cocktail with me this evening. That's okay. Sparkling water is good. Whatever you choose is great. So let's get into intention a little bit. Let's talk about, well, you'll have to come over and I'll make one for you. How's that? I do make a mean tiki cocktail. I'm really into tiki drinks, especially in the summer. Yeah, awesome. Anytime you are very welcome to come over, and I will. You might need an Uber home or somebody to drive you home, but I will be happily mix you a drink. So intention. What is intention? Intention is a thought. Intention is a very specific thought. Intention is a thought that directs energy. I'll talk about what that means. Intention is a thought that directs energy. There's Juno is in the background. Look. I don't know, TikTok, you can't see her, but there's Juno. She's hanging, and there's Phoebe. They're hanging out. They're chilling out. It's their, Phoebe's like in my face, per usual. But there's Juno. So anyway, the animals steal the show. She'll be in the background over there watching me the whole time. So intention is a thought that you hold that directs energy towards a desired goal or outcome, right? And we use intention all the time. We don't necessarily think about it. But if I'm going to pick up this glass and take a drink, I'm going to have the intention to take a drink, and my body is going to act in accordance, hopefully. Like if my body is functioning correctly, it's going to carry through on my intention, right? It's going to do what I want it to do. It's going, my consciousness is directing energy, in this case, the energy of my body, towards achieving that goal of taking a drink, right? If I want to pet my cat, I want to pet Phoebe, right? My intention is pet the cat. Now, very early on in life, a lot of the things that we do are less intentional. Meaning, if I want to tie my shoes, for example, when I was little, and before I really learned how to tie my shoes, before I relegated that to to an unconscious process, we call unconscious competence. What happened was I would have to do the whole thing. Okay, make a bunny ear, and then the rabbit runs around the tree, and then it pokes its ear up through the hole, and then you pull the laces, right? I would have to go through that step by step to remember what I was doing. Um, as I became skilled at that through repetition, through learning, it becomes more relegated to my unconscious. My unconscious, we have what we call unconscious competence, which carries through the intentions that I have without me having to put a lot of thought into them. If I need to get up and walk across the room and open the door, I just have that intention, and then my body does my body walks across the floor to do that. But when you were a toddler learning how to walk, it was one step after another, and the whole idea of walking is actually a really complex set of actions. You have to keep your balance in motion, and walking is actually a process of repeatedly losing your balance and then catching it with your foot. To move forward, you're leaning and you're losing your balance and you're catching it foot after foot after foot, right? And so walking is a complex set of actions, but when we get good at it, when we learn it, we just have the intention, do this. So in spirituality, intention directs energy, not necessarily physical energy, but perhaps spiritual energy or mental energy, or at least unconscious energy towards the goals that we want to achieve. Good morning from Indonesia. Hello, Indonesia. Welcome, welcome. So let's say I want to manifest something. It's really important, and tonight I will talk about how to set clear intentions. Thank you as well. It's Monday morning where you are. It's Sunday night where I am. Setting good, clear intentions is critical. I promise I don't have a halo behind me. There's actually a lamp back there. I may have a halo, but it doesn't show up on video. So setting really clear intentions is critical. And it doesn't matter, like, whatever type of work that you're doing. If you're doing prayer, if you're doing meditation, you can do these things without intention, but they're kind of loosey-goosey, right? They're less tactical. They're less about getting things done. Sometimes that's okay, right? So I talked to a student this morning, and one of the things that happens when I check in with students is I'm like, what have you been doing? What are you up to? What types of work are you doing right now? And, she's like, oh, well, I've just been journeying just to journey, just because it feels healing to me. And it feels like I'm getting expanded, and I'm feeling like this. Yeah. Okay. So you're praying and preparing for working on your Monday. Yes. Yes. Happy Monday to you. So she was sort of journeying without intention, and that's okay, right? I'm like, it's actually, it's good practice. You're journeying, you're getting the practice in, you're becoming acquainted with your helping spirits, you are expanding yourself, you're expanding your consciousness. Very often I work with people on sort of loosening up their consciousness. By that, I mean, we are very locked into our little reality tunnels that we live in. And expanding our consciousness means being able to shift perspectives, being able to shift. Call to prayer is pretty early in your religion, right? I know that there's five calls to prayer per day, something like that. I know a little bit about Islam. Just learned about Islam in school, and I know a little bit about it, but not a whole lot. So anyway, she's being kind of loosey. So that's okay, right? It's okay as long as you understand that's what you're doing, right? You can meditate just to meditate. And meditation is incredibly healthy. There's lots and lots of research. There are literally thousands of research articles published in English alone on the benefits, on the medical, psychological, and even social benefits of meditation. Meditation makes you better socially. It improves your mental health, and does amazing things for your physical health, like lowering blood pressure, right? It makes us more resilient to stress. If I didn't meditate, I don't know. I would be a mess. I would be a real mess. Um, yeah, yeah. I'm sure that is medicine for you. I'm sure having those regular times of prayer every day, having that, I'm going to use the word ritual here because it's a repeated action. It's something you do and that you rely upon and makes you feel closer to God every time you do it. Like that's really powerful. That's a really powerful idea. Um, kind of thing. And um, like it can be true for not just people who practice Islam, but people who meditate, who do so on a regular basis, who have a routine and something to go to that makes them feel closer to source, closer to God, closer to the universe. That can be a really, really powerful thing. So meditation is really healthy. It does not have to be part of a spiritual practice. It can certainly be part of a spiritual practice, but it does not have to be part of a spiritual practice. You can do meditation simply for the benefits of doing meditation, and it will be amazing for you. It will be good. I'm going to go off on a little bit of a tangent, as I normally do. As anybody who watches know, I go off on lots of tangents about meditation for a minute since I brought it up. I'm a meditation teacher as well, amongst the other things that apply to me. And very often when I talk about teaching meditation, there are some people who resist it, which is fine. Nobody's telling you have to meditate. I'm just saying meditation is good for you. If you want to do it, do it. If you don't want to do it, don't do it. But very often when I talk about meditation, there is resistance. There are misconceptions about meditation, and so I try to clarify some of those for people in hopes that it may be beneficial to have better information than to make assumptions that aren't necessarily true about certain things. So the number one thing that I hear about meditation, why people don't meditate, I can't meditate because whatever you're going to say after that is not true. What I can't, because whatever comes after that statement is, I guarantee it's not true. The number one thing I hear is, I can't meditate because I can't stop my thoughts. Well, it may be true that you cannot stop your thoughts at will. You do not have to stop your thoughts to meditate. Having your thoughts stopped. Oh, hello. Thank you for stopping by to say hello. And a Messianic Rabbi here. Welcome, Messianic Rabbi. Is it Elisha? Am I pronouncing that correctly? Elisha. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name. I don't like to. Yes, excellent. Practice every day and teach it too. That's great. I apologize if I'm mispronouncing your name. I don't like to mispronounce people's names, but it's not always clear from the spelling to me, and I'm a lame English only speaker, so I do my best. So anyway, so people will say, I don't meditate because I can't stop my thoughts. And my answer to that is twofold. First of all, congratulations, you're not dead. So your thoughts haven't stopped. Second of all, the bad news is you're not a fully enlightened Buddha yet. You are at your core, but not your conscious mind is still getting in the way of you experiencing that. And that's okay, because that's what meditation is designed to help with. If you meditate for any length of time, and the key to meditation is consistency, is doing it regularly, like an everyday basis. I don't do this anymore because it's too much of a time commitment for me, but I used to meditate for 2 hours a day, every single day. And it was powerful. It was transformative. It was healing. It was incredible. But a side effect of meditation is that your thoughts will begin to slow down, and there will be bigger pauses between your thoughts. Your thoughts will not stop, not permanently, until you're dead, as far as I know, right? You will become less attached to your thoughts. Your thoughts will not feel like they are you. There is no peace like it. That is absolutely true. I will raise a glass to that for sure. I have not experienced a peace like I have in meditation particularly long periods of meditation. Um, so that's number one complaint. I can't stop my thoughts. It's okay. You don't have to. Nobody's expecting you to do that up front. And second of all, don't compare yourself to anybody else in meditation. There's no content. There's no meditation contest. There's no meditation police, right? Unless you're doing Zen Buddhism, then there's a guy. If you're doing Zen in a Zen temple, there's a guy walking behind you with a stick. If you start to fall asleep, they smack you in the back with it, which I always thought was hilarious, right? I forget the word in Japanese, but it literally means wake up stick. I remember one time I was meditating with a Tibetan Buddhist nun, right? And they're a bit gentler than the Catholic nuns I might have encountered earlier in life. Um, but it was a Tibetan Buddhist nun, and I was meditating with her, and in a group, there was a group of people, and she was leading a meditation. And I came out of the meditation, I was really zoned out, really like out there, like probably staring off into space. And she's talking to somebody over here, and I see her arm just whip around and point like right between my eyes, and she goes, "Where is your mind?" And it like zapped me right back, like like snapped me back into my body like that. I was like, oh, I'm here, I'm here. I was out of it. I was really out of it, but it was pretty funny. um, Even though it seems harsh, it was a really gentle way of getting me back into where I was supposed to be at that time. Meditation was over. It's really important, I think, for people not to spend time spaced out and dissociated. When you meditate, there is a tendency to dissociate, and that's fine during the meditation period. But when it is over, it's time to ground and get back into your body. Same is true for shamanic journeying. Same is true for any other spiritual work that you do. It's time to integrate and be in your body. Okay, you got things to do, my friend. Chop wood, carry water. There's a Zen expression, chop wood, carry water. Before enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. After enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. What it means is that the body and the duties of the body continue even after enlightenment. You're less attached to them. You're less attached to your thoughts. You're less attached to your body. You're less attached to your ego. But this stuff is still going on. So you keep doing it. Just keep doing that stuff. Don't think like, oh, I have reached enlightenment. I am above chopping. Don't chop water. That's useless. Chop wood, carry water. Right. So, number one complaint I get from people is, they can't stop their thoughts. And then a variant of that is people will say, "Oh, I can't meditate because," again, whatever they're saying after that is false. My thoughts drive me crazy. That's another one. And my answer to that is let them drive you crazy. That will only last for a short period of time. My guess is if you sat down for 20 minutes or longer, the thoughts driving you crazy would cease. You would go nuts for 20 minutes, and then your thoughts wouldn't stop, but that going nuts aspect of it, the clinging, the pushing, or the pushing away of the thoughts, that would end. Your mind gives up at a certain point. And then you go into bliss. You go into this really peaceful state where your thoughts still arise, but you're just not bothered by them. Okay, you go into this state of imperturbability, of equanimity, where you float, and the thoughts come and they go like clouds in the sky. Clouds in the sky don't affect the sky. They pass through. The sky is still the sky. The sky is empty, right? In fact, there are Tibetan practices that are to make them a dzogchen, to make the mind like the sky. Right. I actually recommend for people who are beginning in meditation, or even if you're not, even if you've meditated for a while, do sky gazing. Don't stare at the sun. That will hurt your eyes. But do sky gazing. Gaze at the open sky, and just hold the intention. So here's where intention comes in. Hold the intention to make your mind like the sky. Empty, but containing everything, right? Just gaze at the sky. Sky's a beautiful thing. It's pretty amazing. So it's a practice I recommend. And hold the intention I'm making my mind like the sky. So, that's a little bit about meditation. And there are so many different forms of meditation. You can find one that speaks to you. You can find one that you like. You can find one that works really well for you. Hello to you. Um, and welcome to the live. Um, I appreciate everybody being here. I am saying that this is, I'm doing this for my friend Brianne, who had to miss the live this morning because I neglected to let her know that it was happening. So, and she's here. So welcome. Uh, but it is also for all of you as well. So, thank you for coming in. Thank you for being here. All the way from Indonesia to the US to we are global. That's pretty exciting to me. It's one of the things I love about the internet is that I can, I can talk to people in Australia. I know there's somebody on here from Australia. I know there's somebody on here from Indonesia. I know there are plenty of people on here from the US. I don't know where everybody else is from, but that's pretty exciting to me. And Juno, you can see Juno in the background. She's pretty excited. That's her excited look. That's her really excited look. She's yawning. What a funny dog. She's a funny pup. Aren't you, girl? Yeah. So that's Juno, named after Queen of the Gods, wife of Jupiter. When we adopted her, her name was Nala, but we had to change it because my ex, the person I was dating at the time, had another dog named Nala. So you're a few streets over. Yes. You mean distance-wise? Yes, that is true. Yes. So Brianne's in the same town. In fact, our daughters graduated from the same high school this year. So yes, that's exciting as well. If you ever want to come over and be on camera with me, you're welcome to. We can do a guest spot. And if that's your thing or not, you can refuse that for sure if that wouldn't be your thing. But you're close by anyway. Or you could sit in the same room with me and like stare at me and make funny faces and make me laugh. I laugh a lot anyway. I laugh at myself. I laugh at my own jokes, and I don't really care. So people are like, "Yeah, you laugh at your own jokes." I sure do. I'm laughing at my own jokes now. I feel like you have to entertain yourself first, and then if anybody else finds you funny, that's a bonus, right? Why would I not laugh at my own jokes? Why would I tell jokes I don't think are funny? That doesn't make any sense to me. So anyway, back to, I'm going to go on like a million tangents tonight. It's been a long weekend. I've had a lot going on this weekend, and I'm about halfway through my cocktail. So, which is rather delicious. I'm rather proud of myself this evening. So maybe I'll publish a book of mystical cocktail recipes. I'll have to come up with a few more recipes, but I have a few that I make that are pretty good. I have this one I got actually from Disney World called Honey. I think it's called Honey and Heather, and it's a drink like it's got a honey bourbon and an elderflower liqueur in it and a couple other things, and it is absolutely fantastic. I'm like, those chefs at Disney World know what they're doing, or the bartenders at Disney World anyway know what they're doing. So let's get into intention and manifestation a little bit. I talked a little bit about meditation. I talked a little bit about prayer. But holding intention, if you're going to do any sort of manifestation work, and you don't have really good intentions, really clear intentions, what you're doing is not going to manifest. It's just not going to happen, because there's not going to be enough energy going behind your manifestation. So I'll talk a little bit about how manifestation works. I'm going to give you my model of manifestation. And what I mean by manifestation is using non-physical means to have results in your life, desired results in your life show up. Or not even necessarily desired, but just having things show up based on non-physical means. And we're actually manifesting all the time. We're attracting things into our life. Most of the time we're doing that unconsciously. I'll give you a funny example. I've told this story before, but it's just really funny, and I think I'll tell it again. It's a manifestation story. So I'm constantly experimenting with spiritual technique because I'm nerdy and sort of scientifically minded, and I'm going to try things out and see what works for me. I try out different forms of meditation, different types of manifestation, different shamanic journeys, all kinds of stuff. Right? I'll read about something, or I'll make something up, or I'll get something from spirit, and I'll try it and see how it works for me. And if it's really good, if it works well, I'll teach it to other people and see how it works for them. So I have the benefit of having students that sometimes will try things out for me when I'm like, hey, let's try this out and see how it works. It worked for me. I'll always try it on myself first, and then let's see if it works for you. And if it works, then we'll share it. I just had a student. I had a student today, and we were working on manifestation last time we met, and I was like, "Yeah, what do you want to manifest? Like, let's pick something just to do a test. Let's pick something at random." And she's like, "How about $1,000?" I'm like, "Okay, let's work on manifesting $1,000." And so when I checked in with her today, I was like, "How's it going?" And she said, the weirdest thing happened. Like, I did this exercise that you led me through to manifest $1,000, and my husband called me from his job and said, "I just got $1,000 bonus at work. It's the first time we've ever gotten this. It's really weird." She's like, "Well, I'm taking credit for this." And I said, "You should take credit for this. You should celebrate that. That's what we call a win." Right? You need to celebrate your wins because it helps you get into gratitude. It helps you manifest more and more easily. So I was doing this exercise in manifestation, and I'll teach it. Like, you can use this if you want to. You can try it out and see how it works for you. But this is how the exercise goes. You imagine, so you have an intention. The intention is what you want to manifest. And so I was working with $1,000 just as a test to see, like, $1,000 is a significant amount of money for me. It might not be for you, but it's a pretty good chunk of change for me. I don't have $1,000 falling out of the sky into my lap every day. So it was a good chunk of change, and I could definitely use it. And like I said, I have two daughters going off to college very soon, and I could definitely use it. And it would be like, if I would know for sure if I had achieved my goal, right? If I had achieved something significant. Um, so the exercise was to imagine that you are having a conversation with somebody who would be very supportive of you reaching your goal. And in this imaginative conversation, you say, "You'll never guess what I just manifested. I just manifested," and then whatever it is. "I just manifested $1,000." And the person's like, "Oh, that's great. That's amazing. Tell me about it." And you describe the sort of end scene that you have for what you want to manifest. So so I tried this. So one day I was like, okay, who am I going to pick? Who would be really excited if I manifested something at will? And I thought of my teacher, my shamanic teacher, and she is retired from teaching right now. She's in the middle of writing her memoirs, which I can't wait to read. And I will when her memoirs come out, I will let everybody know if anybody is interested in reading them. Um, but she's retired from teaching, and I hadn't talked to her in, I don't know, maybe 2 years. It's been a while. It's been a while since I talked to her. Over a year anyway, since I talked to her. The very next day, she reaches out to me out of the blue, just randomly. She says, "Oh, how's it going? Are you still seeing so and so? Are you blah blah blah? Are you blah blah blah?" I'm like, "Well, that's weird, right?" I mean, I wasn't trying to manifest an actual conversation, an actual connection with this person. That's weird, but that's cool. What a cool outcome, right? And maybe it was random, or maybe I can chalk it up to the manifestation work I was doing. So I tried the exercise again. I'm going to manifest $1,000, and I'm going to imagine having a conversation with somebody else. This time it was with my high school girlfriend. Now, my high school girlfriend is somebody that I'm still friendly with. We still talk from time to time. We're friends on Facebook. We've not lost, we've not really lost touch. There've been times where there's been like a number of years where we haven't been in touch, but I also hadn't talked to her in over a year. And so I imagined having a conversation. Oh, you'll never guess what I just manifested. I manifested $1,000 out of thin air with ease, blah, blah, blah. Oh, great. And I imagine her celebrating that with me. What you're trying to do is you're trying to generate emotion here. The very next day, I kid you not, I cross my heart and swear on a stack of Bibles. She gets in touch with me. She reaches out to me and says, hey, I was just thinking about you. How's it going? Whew. Right? Blew my mind. Kaboom. That was that was over my head, right? Boom. Blew my mind. Right? On top of that, that day, an unexpected 600 and something dollars came in, right? Now you might think, oh, $600 came in, but you were trying to manifest $1,000, right? But that is movement towards my intended goal, and I'm going to celebrate that, right? I'm going to get into gratitude about movement towards, because it was 600 and something dollars I didn't have the day before. The day after that, an extra like $400. So in all, it was over $1,000 that came to me out of the blue from unexpected sources, and 2 conversations with people that I had had this imaginative conversation with. So needless to say, I'm going to try this exercise again, but I've passed it on to other people because it worked for me. Like, there's no way that all of that was a coincidence. I can't. There's no way to calculate the odds against that, all of that happening, right? If 2 people hadn't been in touch with me for a couple of years or over a year anyway, and then all of a sudden, out of the blue, timing wise, get in touch with me, what are the odds of that? And then the extra $1,000 showing up on my doorstep, what are the odds of that? I don't know. I don't know how you could calculate that, but it is highly improbable. Highly improbable. And I've manifested all kinds of things in my life. I've manifested relationships. You have to be careful about that, right? I've manifested relationships with specific people, and that never turns out okay. Yes, you can get a specific person to come to you, but you cannot control that person's level of sanity or their level of abuse or whatever. So you might be getting into a relationship that is not what you want. Frequently we have these ideas like, I want to be in a relationship with this person over here. I'm in love with that person over there. That person's so beautiful. I want to have a relationship with that person. But the reality is that person makes a lousy partner for us. That has happened to me. So I speak from experience, where I've manifested relationships with people and they have not worked out, and in fact have been abusive relationships, terrible relationships. So instead, if you're doing work on manifesting relationships, think about what you want from the relationship, and the person will come along. I want to manifest, not want to. I'm going to talk about how to create good intentions. Want to is not a great start for intention, but we'll just start with this as a way of figuring out what we want. I want to have a relationship that is loving, that's supportive, where we enjoy each other's company, where we always have each other's back, where we have this, where we have that, right? Like, design the relationship you want and then work on manifesting that, and work on manifesting a healthy relationship. Not, I'm in love. I think I'm in love with that person because I like how they look. I think that they're beautiful, which is obsession and attachment, but not love, by the way. Somebody recently posted in a Facebook group that I'm in, they're like, somebody please give me some magic to do because there's this man that I'm in love with and he doesn't love me back. And how do I make him love me? And I'm like, you don't. I mean, you could, but like, if you can't get over this person who doesn't love you back, go see a therapist. That's the magic. Go see a therapist and move on, because you don't love that person. You are attached to them, right? If a relationship isn't working or the person doesn't love you back, you don't want to try to force them to love you. What kind of relationship is that? What kind of beginning of a relationship is that? You want a relationship, and you just think that person is going to solve that person's going to complete you or whatever. And that might not, and that might not be the case. Um, so create an intention around the relationship instead of around making a specific person fall in love with you. What do you want? What do you want intimacy wise? What do you want relationship wise? What do you want compatibility wise? And the more specific you get, the harder it is going to be to actually manifest, because what happens, the more specific we get with what we're trying to manifest, the least the least likely, the less likely it is to happen, right? So um, let's say that I want to have a relationship and I like women. So I want to have a relationship with women. Okay, so I've eliminated 49%, because women are 51% of the world population. I've limited 49% of the population. I really only have a relationship with somebody between the ages of, say, 35 and 60, right? Outside of that, not really my age range. Okay, so I've eliminated now more than half the women on the planet. So now I'm down to 25% of the population. Okay, well, let's say I'm really only into redheads. I'm not. I don't have a physical type, but let's say that that's what I'm trying to manifest. Okay, so now that's 10% of the world population. So now I'm down to 2.5% of the population, right? Okay, and then I want somebody who will watch football with me, who likes pineapple on their pizza, and who, and the more specific I get, the more I am eliminating potential matches, right? If the more specific about the person that I'm getting. Whereas a relationship, we can be less specific and we can generate the conditions of that relationship and not limit the odds quite so much. So I do want to have a relationship with a woman, but I want somebody that, is at least understanding of my spirituality. They don't have to share my spirituality. I want somebody who has an artistic temperament, right? I'm artistic. I want somebody who's into, you know, at least, it doesn't have to be an artist, but at least has some creativity that I can share things with, that we can go to museums together, that sort of thing. I want somebody who's a bit of a foodie. Again, this is the more defining sort of the relationship terms that I want. And what parts of that is really important. Okay, so then we have kind of what we want. And then we set the intention. And a good intention for manifestation is stated in the positive. So don't talk about what you don't want. Talk about what you do want. Okay. I want a relationship with a woman who won't punch me in the face. Well, punch me in the face is part of that intention, even though I say who won't punch me in the face, right? The mind does not process negatives. In order for me to imagine somebody not punching me in the face, I have to first imagine somebody punching me in the face. Okay, so I don't want somebody who is violent or whatever. What's the positive? I want somebody who is peaceful. I want somebody who is gentle. I want somebody who takes care of me. I want to take care of each other physically. I want to be safe in this person's presence. That's a really great thing to want to manifest. Okay. So we set the intention in the positive. Okay. Then we find a way to set it in the present tense or slightly in the past tense. I'll give you some examples. So I have, in a present tense intention is I have, or I am in, or I have, or I allow. That's a great one. I allow myself to have a fantastic relationship. It's a great way to do present tense statements around intention. I allow myself to. If you are an unlimited being, and you are, if you are part of the source consciousness that co-creates this universe, all you have to do to manifest something is to allow it. Right? So we get into that mindset. I allow myself to have this perfect relationship that is described in the following way. That's one way. Or I have just manifested this. Or imagine yourself in conversation, do that exercise that I did with somebody who would be supportive of you, not just anybody, but somebody who would be supportive and excited for you, and say, you'll never guess what I just manifested. I just manifested this perfect relationship, and this is how I describe it, right? It's supportive, it's loving, it's peaceful. We have each other's backs. We feel safe in each other's presence. We share a lot of things, but we also have differences that I can support and the other person can support, right? So those are the things. So set that up. I suggest writing down your intentions. Writing them down, writing things down longhand as opposed to typing them out uses more of your brain. And so you're making stronger neural pathways. Part of what we're doing with our intention is we're setting up our unconscious mind through these, lots of neural connections to carry out our expectations. The mind will always act in accordance with your beliefs and your expectations. If you believe something is already true, I believe this relationship or this money or this whatever, this career, whatever you're trying to manifest, I believe this is already in the works. You will act in accordance with that belief system always, and your life will become a self-fulfilling prophecy where these things are more likely to happen to you. You will, in fact, take actions that support these things happening to you. And you'll do it without even thinking about it, right? Have you ever done that? I did this. I did this one time. It was really horrible. I was walking down a flight of stairs in the dark, right? I couldn't see the stairs, and I miscounted the step. I don't want to give anybody the heebie-jeebies, but instead, I didn't miss a step, but I thought there was one extra step down than there actually was. I was actually on the bottom step, and I thought there was another step. And if you've never done that, it is shocking and painful. Actually, try to drive your foot through the floor and hurt my knee, right? My mind was following my mind and my body was unconsciously following my belief system that there was another step below the one I was standing on, and there was not. I was at the bottom step. Or if you don't think there's another step and you step, that's a real recipe for disaster as well. The lesson there is don't walk down the steps in the dark, even if you've been down the steps a number of times. I've hurt both of my knees on stairs in the past. It's not a lovely thing to have happen. So anyway, so that is a way to create a good positive intention, present tense, get clear on what you want, write it down. Writing it down also has a permanency to it. You can, hey, dog's barking. I don't know why. I don't think anybody's here. I'm going to ignore her for a few moments. Hopefully she'll calm down a little bit. She barks when she thinks somebody's here. I don't know if you can hear her or not, but she's like a little guard dog. She's so tough. She thinks she's tough. She just barks and hides. She's not really tough. She believes she is, though, and she acts accordingly until the rubber hits the road and somebody actually comes into the house, and then she's cowering in the corner. Poor girl. She was a rescue. She was a feral dog from Puerto Rico when she was rescued, and so she's very wary of people. She likes other dogs a whole lot, and if she gets to know you as a human, she is extremely loving. She's an extremely loving dog, very affectionate, really kind of a lap dog for me. She likes to be in my lap, and the girls as well, my daughters and folks that she really gets to know. She will really just cuddle up to you, and she sleeps in the bed with me every night. Sometimes I have to move her. Sometimes she's almost pushes me off the bed at night, but it's very funny. Anyway, so positive intention, present tense statement, write it down, get very clear on what you are trying to manifest. A couple of other things about manifestation intentions. always give room for more. So if you're trying to manifest $1,000, have your intention say $1,000 or more, or at least 1,000. I now manifest, or I allow myself to manifest $1,000 or more. In case the universe wants to give you more, don't cut it off at the knees, right? If you want to manifest $1,000 and $10,000 comes along, take it, right? And then celebrate that, and don't go, oh man, I missed it. I missed the mark. I only manifested. I wanted 1,000, but I got 10,000. So clearly, manifestation isn't working for me. No, don't do that. Don't sabotage your manifestation, particularly if you get more than what you asked for. Be happy, be grateful, thank the universe for that. Getting into gratitude is really important. I'll talk about that in a minute. Okay, so intention. So if you think about a triangle, I'm talking about the triangle of manifestation here. Intention is the first component of that, right? We don't have a two-legged table. We have a three-legged table or stool, right? The second leg is imagination. So we set the intention, and then we imagine the end state. We imagine being in the end state. That's what I was doing with the exercise, where I was imagining myself being in being with these people and having the conversation about what I've just manifested, right? So that's a critical thing. Now, many people might not make very clear pictures in their head when they try to visualize or imagine things, and that's okay. Hold the intention and just say, I'm imagining this right now, and do the best you can. Right? You want to get into the state where your mind thinks you already have it. Your mind doesn't know a whole lot of difference between imagination and reality. There's a famous study where they had two groups of people practicing basketball free throws. And one group practiced them every day, spent, 20 minutes a day practicing. And the other group imagined themselves practicing throwing free throws for the same amount of time. And they both improved at the same rate. They both improved at the same level. One person wasn't doing it. One group was not doing it physically. What we imagine, our mind thinks is real. So be careful what you imagine. Okay, so imagine yourself in the end state. What is it like after you already have the thing that you have set up in your imagination? What's it like if you're trying to manifest $1,000? What's it like looking at your bank account with an extra $1,000? Or what are you spending that money on? Imagine that. That is the second point of the triangle. The third point is emotion. Emotion is the fuel that pushes the vibration of what you want out into the universe. And you want to, in general, when you're manifesting, you want to get into as positive a state of emotion as possible. I'll give you a couple hints for that. One is, imagine yourself having that thing and really celebrating, really getting into gratitude that you have it. How happy would you be if you had an extra $1,000 or whatever it is, that relationship that you're trying to manifest, or that job or that car or whatever it is that you're trying to manifest? Another hint, and this is a good one, this is a really powerful one that I learned from somebody recently, is to have music when you're doing your manifestation work, when you're sitting down to write out your intention and then imagine yourself in the end state. Put on music that is incredibly uplifting, positive, emotional music for you. Find what works for you. And I have a playlist going on Spotify where I can pick from different pieces. They're all instrumental. A lot of them are soundtracks to movies that are really emotionally uplifting soundtracks. Some of them are like, songs from Avatar or whatever. That was like really grand, but whatever works for you. But I like these really grandiose cinematic soundtracks, and there's some other music as well. I have some that are just like piano tunes or whatever, but like that put me in this like really high emotional state. So imagine yourself, spend a few minutes imagining yourself. So you have the intention, write it down, put the music on, imagine yourself in the end state, and generate as powerful a positive emotion as you possibly can while imagining yourself having the thing that you're trying to manifest. All right, that's it. That's the secret. Now, there are lots of techniques that can go along with this. There are lots of other sort of manifestation techniques that you can use. I've talked about one, the imagining the conversation with a person. That apparently is a really powerful one for me. That works really well. But there are lots out there. You can find them online. You can do all kinds of things. But you have to have these three components. If you don't, you have a table with one or two legs, and it's going to fall over. Right? These are critical components. They're not really negotiable, or you're not going to manifest, right? It's not just enough to imagine yourself having the thing. It's not enough to create an intention and use that like an affirmation, right? You can repeat that ad nauseum, but if you're not generating the emotion behind it or imagining yourself in the end state, it's very unlikely that it's going to, depending on what it is, it's very unlikely that it's going to manifest. Let me talk a little bit more about some aspects of manifestation and sort of how that works and how that works with intention. One of the models that I used to think about manifestation is the model of manipulating probabilities, right? So some people in quantum physics say that the universe exists as a state of probabilities, right? And we have things called superpositions, like particles can be, let's say a particle can be spinning this way or spinning this way. And it's not or, it's actually spinning in both directions, but probabilistically until it's observed. Until you observe it, it is spinning in both directions. This is what's called quantum superposition. It's hard to imagine. It's like you have a cat that is, you don't have a striped cat. You have a cat that is both white and black until it's observed. And then it's either black or white. This is how quantum, it's not really how cats work, but that's how quantum physics works, right? And so the cat is in a superposition of being both black and white, but there's a probability associated with that. It is like 90% probability that it's black and 10% probability that it's white. Okay. And what we are doing is when we are doing manifestation work, when we're doing magic, when we're doing any of these things, is we're nudging probabilities. If we can work with the universe to nudge them to enough of a degree, when they finally collapse, when the quantum wave collapses into a solid state, it does so in a way that serves us. Saying this is a simplification is a simplification. This is a super duper simplification, but it's a useful model for understanding how manifestation works, right? So we nudge probabilities. Now, some things are highly probable and some things are much less probable. For example, the reason why probably none of us have won the lottery is that the odds of winning the grand prize in the lottery, Powerball or Mega Millions or whatever, is like 357 million to 1. You're much more likely to get hit by lightning 5 times in your lifetime than to win the lottery. Is it highly improbable? Most lotteries are drawn using a physical system in which there is a significant amount of what we call chaos, disorder, right? A physical system like a tank with ping pong balls in it. Those ping pong balls, anything shifts. The wind blows a different way. All these things changes all of the probabilities. So it's very difficult to manipulate that. It's very difficult to manipulate that much probability in your favor. However, if I want to manifest $1,000, there are lots of ways that can come to me. That's a highly, maybe not highly probable, but it is much more probable than manifesting a $500 million jackpot on the Powerball or something like that, right? It is conceptually easier. Nothing is technically easier to manifest than anything else, but conceptually it's easier because there's less probability to manipulate. So what you don't want to do with your intention, still talking about intention here, is you don't want to micromanage the how. You want to trust the how things are manifested to the universe. If you try to micromanage the how, you are cutting off avenues of success. So let's say, for example, I want to, we'll go back to the relationship. I want to manifest the perfect relationship for me. And again, like I start to eliminate opportunities by saying, I want a redheaded woman between the ages of 35 and 40 who lives within 30 miles of me, who cooks and likes art, who, and in every single thing I do, I'm eliminating possibilities, making it less and less likely that my manifestation is going to happen. Right? All the way down to zero. Until that person doesn't exist anymore. Right? I can do that. Right? I can eliminate all probabilities. And then if I say, oh, and I'm going to meet this person on Tuesday morning at 8 a.m. when I go into the grocery store and go into the frozen food aisle. Like that is just making the probability, that's making the how fight when I'm actually trying. And why would that be important? It's not important that I meet this person on Tuesday morning in the grocery store in the frozen food aisle. Like that's not important at all. But people try to do that, right? People try to say, I am going to on Thursday morning at 6:45 get this into my life. You're eliminating chances for success. Why would you do that? That makes less sense. Now, you don't want to eliminate, you don't want to open up so much that you're actually not manifesting what you want. I've talked about that before. I've talked about manifesting relationships, intimate relationships with very specific people that turned out horribly, right? So I didn't want to eliminate having necessarily, like I didn't want to say open up to having a horrible relationship with somebody. Right? So I want to be open, but still, what's really important to me? That should be stated in the intention. What's actually important when I'm thinking about this stuff? Whether it's, a monetary amount or a job or a lover or what have you, right? Any of those things. I'm getting onto the bottom of my drink. There's like pulp from the lemon and lime juice down there. It's not bad. It's not bad. It's very sweet at the bottom. I stirred my drink and I didn't shake it, and I should have shaken it, but neither here nor there. It's totally fine. So we want to have our intention open enough that it gives, so there's a balancing act here. We want it to be open enough that it gives us a real chance, a real possibility of manipulating the probabilities in our favor, but we don't want to close it off so much that we are eliminating so much probability that our manifestation isn't going to happen. That being said, you can manifest absolutely anything you want, absolutely any time you want. But we have limitations. We have sort of unconsciously self-imposed limitations on what we can do. There's a reason for that, right? If if I'm driving down the street and somebody cuts me off in traffic and I go, I wish that guy's car would explode, and all of a sudden their car exploded, and I had this like godlike ability to manifest all the time, I would have to be super careful about what I think about, right? I'd have to be super careful about what any sort of intention that I created all of a sudden, if there wasn't a delay and some stop gaps and some safety measures on what I'm intending. And there are, but also, even the whole probability thing that I presented as a model this evening is not specifically a huge limitation. It doesn't have to be a huge limitation. You can manifest anything you want. I'm convinced of that. I've manifested big things and small things and really specific things and really general things. Um, so I'm working on a bunch of stuff right now, and you'll hear about it. Some of it soon. Some of it is coming to fruition. There's also work that I need to do. So, um, one of the ways that you can get in the way of your intention is you can negate it, right? So I can say, um, I'm going to manifest a new job. I'm going to manifest a new job. It's going to be perfect for me. It's going to be great. And then the next day I get a call from an employer for an interview, and I pick up the phone and I go, "Screw you, buddy. I'm not coming in. My perfect job is coming along. I don't need you. Go to hell," right? um, I've just eliminated the way that the universe may be providing for me, which is why we don't negotiate the how. And sometimes there's stuff we have to do to participate in this creation, in this manifestation. Not always, right? I didn't have to do anything for the $1,000 that came into my life, or for these people to contact me, or some of the other things that I've manifested. I didn't have to do anything. I could have refused it. I could have refused any of it. Oh, that's not, because the $1,000 came in two sums. They would have said, when the first 600 something dollars came in, I could have said, "Oh, screw you. I'm not taking that. I'm going to tear up this check." And that's not what I wanted. I wanted $1,000, right? I could have eliminated that. I could have negated that. Don't do that unless you want to. If you want to do that, if you want to negate things and hinder your manifestation all the time, you can absolutely do that, right? So we can hinder things by not accepting them, or by not doing the things that we're supposed to do. Manifestation normally works through normal channels rather than supernatural channels, right? Which is, why my student, when I talked to her today, and she's like, "Oh, I did this thing where I was trying to manifest $1,000. And then my husband called me and said he got $1,000 bonus on his job that was unexpected, and they've never gotten it before." And she's like, "Well, I think I'm going to take credit for that." I'm like, "You should take credit for that, because you never know how it's going to, it came to you through unnatural means, and that's normally how it happens." Some people have this idea that manifesting means I'm going to sit on my couch and I'm going to wish really hard, and a box of money is going to manifest and drop into my lap. And that's not how it works normally. Can it work that way? Sure. Is it likely to work that way? No, it is not. It is much more likely that things are going to come to you through natural rather than supernatural means, right? You're going to manifest that perfect relationship. You are going to meet that person. But if you never go out and you never take a shower and you don't present yourself, you can negate anything that the universe is doing for you, right? You never leave your house, unless you, what do I see in your life? I do not do readings. And if I did, I would not do them on TikTok. And if you ever see somebody who looks like me saying, "I'm going to give you a reading," and asking for money, that's not me. That's an imposter. Hasn't happened yet that I'm aware of, but it has happened to other people I know. So I don't do readings, and I wouldn't, if I did, wouldn't do them over TikTok for sure. And I'm sorry, but it's just not happening. I will tell you this: at some time in the next day, you will get hungry. How's that for prediction? I already had dinner. I'm not hungry this evening, but at some point in the next 24 hours, you will get hungry. How's that for prediction? You can come back and tell me if I was correct. All right, where was I talking about manifestation? So sometimes inspired action is in order when we're doing manifestation work. So, if I'm trying to manifest that perfect job, it may be important to dust off my resume and make sure it's up to snuff and getting it out into the world, right? Helping the probability. moving things along. I have gotten jobs without applying for them before. I was in a job that I was really unhappy with years and years ago, and I had even written an article. I'd written an article. I worked in technology, and I wrote an article about how um, technical hiring people stink at technical hiring. I think I called the article "You Probably Stink at Technical Hiring." And a company contacted me, and the guy was laughing when I got on the phone with him. He's like, "You're the guy who wrote the article. You stink at technical hiring." It's like, "Yeah." He goes, "Well," he goes, "I hope you don't think I stink, but I want to offer you a job." So it came to me from a really weird thing. I didn't expect anybody to read that. Like, actually expected some people to take offense to that. And this was a recruiter, and offered me a job. I think I did have to interview for it, but they paid me a retainer. They're like, if you have to give your notice at your other job, we'll pay you until you come on here. So I was getting paid by two companies at the same time and working for one. It worked out really well, and I wound up working for that company for a long time. Um, and I still have good relationships with the people from that company, but it was just really funny how that materialized. So things can come from all kinds of crazy sources. It's still coming from it's not breaking any natural laws for that to happen. Can we sometimes manifest things by what we would call magic or supernatural methods? Sure. But that's highly unlikely. It's very unlikely to happen, in my opinion. Making that sort of change to physical reality using completely non-physical means that aren't just manipulating probabilities is challenging. It's hard. Not impossible. Nothing is impossible. Everything is possible. Some things are improbable. It's the famous chaos magic motto is nothing is real, everything is permitted, right? So anyway, with that, I have been talking for well over an hour. I hope this has been interesting. I've got to run. I got to get ready for my day tomorrow, and have a little bit of wind down time, and talk to my daughters and all kinds of stuff. So I'm going to let everybody go. But thank you so much for joining me tonight. It was lovely to see you all here. Lovely to have this conversation with you. My love to you all. I mean that. And take care. And this, you're so welcome. Thank you. I'm glad